Welcome to the SLTPodcast. You know who it is. You have me, Ziggy Moore. I'm an assistant head teacher and and founder of More Education. We have Mr. Get this right, Jordan.
Not Jason.
No, Jordan Crawford. Tell them, introduce yourself, sir.
Vice Principal. That's me.
And we've got our first guest.
Okay.
You have our first guest. That's how you know I step up in our life.
Just me. We made it.
Introduce yourself, bro. Introduce yourself.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. So I'm Johnoi Josephs, assistant head teacher and co-founder of Black Men Teach.
Big. Do you know what I'm deep in, yeah? Sorry, I sound like one of the kids. Deep in. Do you know I've just realised, just as we've introduced ourselves, yeah? I think, what's it like? 0.1% of senior leaders are black in the UK. So if you think about that as like how many are black males, just to have the three of us in the room is like a Marvel kind of thing. You with me? It's big. We also have off camera, but we have Mr. Tariq Brown.
Yes, what's happening, guys?
He's one of our contingent. He's gonna be on that later.
The brotherhood.
Yeah, man. That's what we're building. But no, it's amazing to have Johnoi. Thank you very much for coming onto the pod. I know we've done a live previously on the More Education, but this is this is the proper thing. So are you like one? I don't want to say one half because I know there's you and Albert are the guys I know. Me, but there's a wider contingent of teachers as well. Black men teach.
Yeah, so myself and Albert, we're the co-founders, and directors of it, however you want to look at it. And then we have a team of people around us, so it's roughly around 5 other people who kind of help us extend the mission in some way, shape or form. And I think what's interesting is that is those roles and so on and so forth are becoming more definitive as more exposure comes along and capacity needs to increase, and we're open to taking on more people and so on and so forth. So it's building, absolutely. But myself and Albert, we're the one. It comes down to us at the end of the day.
Yeah, man. Big up Albert. So let's get this kicked off, man.
Shout out BMT, Black Men Teach. I think the first time I heard about the Black Men Teach organization was through Nadine in the Inspiring Heads program. Talk to us about how it started.
I just want to big up Inspiring.
Hold tight, Inspiring Heads.
Hold tight. I got the hat today.
I was gonna wear my shirt, you know.
I was gonna wear the hoodie, but I thought it's too hot.
Me, I'm always in the hoodie.
Hold on. Side note. See the shot, the More Education hoodie. I was gonna wear my Black Men Teach Retreat hoodie, which I have. I can do that because I have access to that hoodie. My man's over there rolling his eyes because as long as I've known this brother, I do not have a More Education hoodie. I'm even willing to pay for it. I'm even willing to put bread in the account for a More Education hoodie.
Okay.
Haven't seen a hoodie. But whatever, we digress.
We digress. Let's go.
Back to Black Men Teach.
Back to Black Men Teach.
Yes. So talk to us about how it started. What was the thinking behind it? What it entails, what it involves for those that might not know.
Yeah, so I mean, like most things that started during lockdown, and that zeal that kind of took place, people had time, and obviously there's something very tragic that took place in the world regarding George Floyd, and that kind of sparked a lot of undercover conversations that have been taking place. And I remember what that translated to back in the UK was that there's a lot of people that was joining the cause, and there was a trend that actually went around where I think you had black female teachers. The way my voice is going right now, I won't even sing it, but there's this song that they were doing to. It's like, don't rush.
Yeah.
Right? And so then...
And so... like a trend,
Right? And so they got like different teachers across, the UK.
Yeah, I remember.
And they were doing... And I think it was led by Kemi from, Black Teachers Network, former YBTN. And then another guy basically said, let's do a replica but with black males. And I think at that point, Albert brought me into it. But I met Albert through Twitter, I think a few months earlier, because he's always been into mentoring and he's been doing some great stuff in his school. And so when I, became a form tutor during my ECT year, obviously NQT back then, I wanted to replicate what he was doing. So I reached out, hated Twitter by then, by the way, and I was just like, yeah, let's have a meeting. We touched base, and it was cool, and we swapped contacts. And then when this opportunity came to that video, he basically brought me in and a few others, and then I brought in a couple of others as well into it, and then we all had to submit this video, and I think it was led by this guy, his name's Craig, and yeah, he put it together, and then it just blew. And in the first week or so, like all of us, I think it got literally over 120,000 views, my account alone, and then other people was just replicating. And so at the beginning it was like, oh no, this is so good, this is so inspirational. And we was gassed, we was in it, was just like, okay, this is something actually kind of going viral. However, the conversation changed when it was a case of people kept on saying, oh, I've never had this before, I've never seen this, is so amazing. I was like, why is this actually a phenomenon? Like, it should actually be a norm.
When you say this, what do you mean? What do you mean?
So seeing black male teachers together, because I think many people think that we're either non-existent or, there's none of us out there, but we're there. But I think we needed something kind of bring us together, and obviously I was very fortunate to kind of be a part of that cause. And so myself and Albert kept in contact. And I think we originally wanted to form something led by the individual who started it, but then at the same time, I don't think it was ready for it. Because we didn't want to be like most lockdown initiatives where you start off with zeal, but there's no strategy to make it last. So we actually conversate and planned for a good 7 months before we officially put something out there. And then when we did, it was generally just a case of like, let's talk, let's gather, let's galvanize. And then it's developed into us hosting events. And so you have one side where, we're trying to obviously increase the amount of black teachers or awareness of black teachers, black male teachers, sorry. At the same time, on the side, we was doing a lot of workshops with young boys in school. And so we found this dichotomy in the sense that, well, if we essentially want more black male teachers, we need to go back to the roots. And most of us actually have negative experiences back in school where you realize that, man, you're actually just another statistic. And there's actually quite a lot of black boys who have negative experiences in school. And so if you was to ever pose the question, have you ever considered teaching? Like, what? And they want to run away from something that they deem quite traumatic. Once they leave school, they leave school. They're not trying to look back at all. So we thought, okay, we had to do a two-pronged approach here. So we need to work with young boys, and at the same time create a space where, black male teachers can be identified or be seen. And so that's when we started, and that's the driving.
No, it's brilliant. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, when you broke it down like that, I said the same thing.
I never thought about it because I was inspired to go into teaching because mine's a bit unique. I had quite a few positive black male teachers, but there's like maybe one who stood out and inspired me. And I often have this conversation with people like, you don't have to be able to see it to do it, but it does help. If you've seen it, you've experienced it, that means you definitely know that it's possible. It does help. So I didn't understand the connection. So that's brilliant, man. That's brilliant.
In 7 years in one school, in a school of 2,500 kids, I had 2 black male teachers in that entire time, and the second one only came when I was in year 11. So it's unheard of for me.
I recently went to obviously the Festival of Education, and I was listening to a talk. And one person actually said that there's roughly, or most schools actually, they either said black students make up around 35% of the school population, 35%. But then there's roughly around 56%, and let's not misquote me here, in terms of schools that don't have a single black staff across the country.
Crazy.
Right? And it's just like, that's stark.
And I agree with your point about the representation, being able to see yourself in a leader, but it's also on a broader sense, just the experience you have of being in an institution that you subconsciously understand doesn't necessarily have your best interests at heart. So bringing it back to the Black Men Teach organisation and the mentoring aspect of it, having advocates, and just being able to
not to be controversial, but I don't think it's that crazy. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be there's certain parts of England, let's be honest, there ain't no man them down there.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Like, we're forgetting that this isn't our country.
Yeah.
Right? So we came here by migration.
Yeah.
You know, many of us, I'll say, I came here by migration, and I think I touched upon this before when I was invited on a talk where I said that many of us are trying to champion this change in the curriculum, right?
Yeah.
But then the curriculum wasn't built for us.
100%.
So it's one of them ones where we not necessarily take what we're given here, but it's like the work is harder because it was just never built for us.
And to support that point, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but things that we spoke about in the past is the stronger the household is, or the stronger our community, the less relevant the needs of the curriculum or the education system are, because we just go in there to get the qualifications and specialist knowledge and then look out. You know what I mean? Whereas if we don't have the strong foundations from a domestic or community aspect, we require that more from schools. So I do understand.
And I think what's so interesting is that, and obviously one of the things that we do at Black Men Teach, things have just developed so well that we've finalized what we want to do or how we want to make our impact. And so there's actually one program that we're doing, and we're hoping to get some funding to kind of roll this out into schools at a very much reduced cost or free of charge, where this mentoring that we're doing with young Black boys encompasses the whole community around the Black boy. So we focus at the schools, so we put on workshops for the schools in terms of how to support, but we also put on workshops for the parents and the carers as well, saying that how they need to be knowledgeable in actually supporting their young person. And I'm so excited about us launching that, because we are literally thinking about every aspect of a Black boy. And how all of us need to kind of work together and really push this holistic development. So yeah,
that was going to be another question I had around the future of Black Men Teach and where you like to take it. Here's a question. I'm gonna hypothetically, we're gonna watch a 30-second video clip.
Yeah.
And this encapsulates everything that the Black Men Teach organization does in 5 years' time. Ideal scenario, what's on that clip?
Really
right, them deep questions.
That's a good question.
Yeah, you see anytime Jordan starts going, you know it's gonna get deep. That's what I was anticipating. So yeah, boy, 5 years.
5 years.
Nice. Wicked question.
I think, let me rephrase. Let me start or remove. I think the way things are going, I would say that we are going to find ourselves as one of like a pillar or stronghold when it comes to education, actually Black teachers, and us being a signpost, you know, for them to kind of be connected to. So that's the first and foremost. When you think about teaching, when you're going to teaching, and if you're a Black man, automatically
I need to
Black,
tap into this.
tap into that
I can't go into this industry without going through these or just seeking support from these people.
Absolutely, and I think so. Even in terms of like policy making as well. So I know there's quite a few organisations, i.e., that want to, like Mission 44, who would like to work with us in some capacity. And that's where we see this going. Nice. But then on the ground, we really want to train up some facilitators and have our own BMT workshops. So we have 3 at the moment, and that's going to develop. So the first one that we have is Dear Black Boys. Then we have Thriving in Secondary School. And then one that we recently created was Redefining Masculinity. We want all these workshops to be delivered across, you know, the 56% schools where there isn't, you know, a Black member of staff there. So that's one of the key things that we want. So we're training up facilitators to do that. And I think secondly, you know, we have the retreat that we do for teachers. And we just want to be a pillar of advocate for Black males in the profession to have that spot where they're sharing their expertise. So those are the main things that I say in terms of the tangible aspect, and we've seen ourselves almost accomplishing that within the next 2 years. So 5 years, let's just say I'm possibly out education like that. I'm fully working on Black Men Teach, but it's something I will definitely consider because it's something I believe in. And I'm not just saying it, I'm saying it. It's networking that's kind of kept me in teaching for this long, you know, and shout out to, you know, Aspiring Heads, Young Black Teachers Network, Black Teachers Connect. These are the organizations that I really connected to within my first year of teaching. And to create something where we've carved out our own space for Black male teachers is phenomenal. I think all of us are working together for that.
Boy, it's lonely out there. It's lonely out there in that industry, isn't it? And again, I've mentioned this a couple of times, but what was it in my first week?
Yeah,
our first
I was because they didn't know what the connection between you and I was, and I was breaking it down for them when on my way here.
Pulled me into a classroom. Like first week it must have been.
Yeah,
it's pulled me into a classroom and was basically saying, listen, brother to brother, this is the pattern. We need to stay strong and stay connected. And at the time, because I was just new into it, I was like, nah, I rate that, but I didn't fully appreciate like the power of that. Because as much as I can appreciate now, particularly in leadership, how isolated and often lonely it can feel as a Black man in education. Be honest, I've never really had that. I didn't feel that at the start because I felt so supported and such. Like,
you know what's crazy as well, because like as I sit here, this is the first time, like, no disrespect, I feel old, innit? Like, I was walking with Tariq, and like, like, I'm 27. I was like, oh. So then, like, Johnoi came and I was like, Jonoi's a bit closer in age to me. And I was like, wait. No, he's not. I was like, Johnoi, he's 20. I was like, oh. But to almost go from that point, not to say, like, I was the catalyst, but to go from that point to where you're saying 10 years ago when you first went it, and I know it was like that to where you man are now, like, where you man and like, you guys are doing, like, just to sit back as almost like a older.
Because when you were in their position or starting
when I was starting, there was nothing like that. Like, the women had a sisterhood, and as a Black male, they'll kind of take me under their wing. Are you with me? Like, there's certain people I could shout out, like, come straight to mind, like a Tracy Marquis from over at Capital City at the time. Like, kind of took me under their wing.
Shout out to sisters.
Yeah, no.
But that's how it's always been. You know what I mean? Like Black women can always come together, find camaraderie with each other. I want to pose a question here because I think it's like, you know, one of the things that I'm starting to see now that I've gone to this aspect of it 5 years deep now, I was actually going to make a LinkedIn post saying I completed my 5th year teaching.
Yeah, man,
ended with an assistant head teachership.
Come on, pick up yourself.
One thing I'm starting to see a lot now is almost like Black male teachers kind of like competing with each other.
Okay.
Like in an unshared space, in the sense of like this whole aspect of we know that we're already in silos, but I'm gonna stay this way. Like they're less likely to kind of connect. And I think
we're laughing because we've had this conversation as well.
You know, it's
have you felt that?
I think I have. I mean, you know what? You know, sharp like. Let's thank God for growth in the aspect of. I think when you kind of mature and you've gone through experience and so on and so forth, you realize that I ain't trying to be another Black male teacher's enemy. Like we can both coexist in this space.
We
don't need to be no. You're the cooler Black male teacher, and then you just come or you replace. Like no, like we can both coexist in this space, and I feel like because there's always this contention, by external forces, like you know, pitching us against each other. We don't think that we can actually coexist together, and I think that what I want.
What's the question? I want. What's you say you're gonna put? I want to hear the question because you got me thinking deep now. Like, I'm waiting. What's the question?
I guess the question I want to ask is, I know the answer, but like, can black males coexist together in a space without there being competition, and actually just like, yo, you are my brother. I want to see you win. We're both trying to, make impact. Or does it have to?
Now this goes on to the next thing that I was talking to them man about now. Yes, but how you see competition is how you see competition. Yeah. Like there's healthy competition.
Yeah.
You with me? There's healthy competition that allows every man to grow. So I was watching I think there's a Federer documentary, on Amazon. You watch it, Tariq?
Yeah.
Now, if you see, you got Andy Murray, you have Nadal, and you have Djokovic.
Yeah.
And they all appreciate, between the four of them, the era that we were in, you see, if you never existed and I wouldn't be as great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't not be in the gym because I know them man in the gym.
I have to, because I know we're in an era of tennis players where if I slip, same thing with the man them now. I know what I'm representing is bigger than me. I have to be on point because I can't come to SLT and make us look like idiots.
Yeah.
I can't come to SLT meeting, If there's 3 of us in SLT and I've come and my thing slipping. Because how I look at it is I make you look like an idiot and we look like idiots now.
Yeah.
It's not a thing where because I'm slipping, all right, you're going to pounce on that. You're going to come to... I know Jordan's going to come to me after SLT and grab my... Like, yo, what kind of idiot thing is that? Yo, what's the problem? You got a problem, bro? Can we sort it out? Because, right, we're staying back till 6 to pattern your data or whatever it is, to make sure... Because we're never going into SLT looking like that again, because it's a we thing.
Yeah.
But what I come to realise, the problem is, a lot of people don't think like that. And I think about the competition between you and I. I know it might not look like it, but remember Sports Day competition?
Yeah.
Yeah?
He's laughing because it wasn't really a competition.
No. I'll tell you what was bad, yeah? So the first year, obviously, he has a slight, advantage in regards to his body composition, yeah? But the first year, I've challenged every man. Yeah, 100 metres, But what I've done slyly is I've not made it 100 metres. I've made it I've pushed it to 80 metres, yeah?
That acceleration.
Because I knew I'd dup him over 80. Because of his stride pattern, anyhow it gets. But he's not realised, because of all the hype, he's not clocked that I've moved the line forward. So I've moved the line forward, boom!
Oh, now I didn't know this, but
it's all mind games, isn't it? It's all mind games. So for a whole year, they played that on the school monitors, yeah? Continually. Mr. Moore, dupping.
That kid's going, so he got you.
So his ego, and me, I jab him on, rare. So you see the next year...
Boy, I was training.
Forget Olympic finals.
I would do the same thing.
Shuttles on me ones.
I was doing the same thing.
Forget Olympic finals. Yeah, and this was held in Crystal Palace.
Okay.
So man, I said, rotted. Yeah, no, it was deep.
Yeah.
100 metres. I couldn't style it. 100 metres now. We're up to about at 60 metres. I'm ahead,
Mm-hmm.
I said, boy, I gotta hold it. So he come 70 metres. Yeah. So I use that as a metaphor for a general competition of how we had listen, I'd left the school, come back the next year. Come back the next year, yeah, to race because I was vexed. And we've always had that very, I would argue, healthy competition that surrounded our relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, that doesn't necessarily work with everybody, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because we're quite confident in who we are. Whereas enough of the man them, they're not necessarily confident in who they are. And I think therein lies the problem. Today's SLT podcast is sponsored by none other than More Education, the UK's leading online black-owned supplementary service.
Guaranteed grades. Sorry.
Guaranteed grades. All your money back.
Oh my
I love that. Tell us about the guarantee grades, bro.
Guarantee grades, 6s, 7s, 8s. Don't watch that. You getting it?
All right. See, I didn't say it. I didn't say it. But make sure, if you want to find out where your child is, what's happening with your child, how we can support, we've got amazing facilities. Log on to moreeducation.co.uk. And at the moment, we are doing an offer for £47. You can have an assessment, so we can tell you exactly what your child's doing in maths and English, where they are, what they need to improve on, and a consultation where you get to sit down with me and I discuss how to plot the next steps of your child's road to success. Log on moreeducation.co.uk. What do we say?
Guarantee grades. I agree with that. I think you have to be committed to something greater than yourself.
Yes.
For you to understand that we're all winning. There are of us. I think in addition to that, as soon as monetary value, or when you start thinking about making money or getting bread from it, that's where another aspect of, okay, there's a Black Men Teach organization. How can they be running seminars and workshops and delivering mentoring in schools? I can't then set up a next organization because they're going to take clients off me or customers off me. Yeah. And I think I say that to say the person that I was thinking of when we were both laughing.
Yeah.
That whole network, like if you get called to be a keynote speaker, or you're the face of this certain type of sector within education, if we're doing similar things or we have a similar image, I'm competition to you and you're taking money out of my pocket. That's where I think
and you know why it's wild,
issue comes in.
Because how I look at it is, because I know I see how other people operate. Yo, we can just corner the whole field, and they don't even know that we're working together. We can look at all of the events that all right, so this year there's 20 events. Rather than you get 5 and I get 5, how about we get 20 and then you speak at 10, but we decide who's going to speak and we pitch it, but they don't even know that we're actually one organisation where everybody can eat. But I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right because, I haven't found a great amount of camaraderie amongst black men. Although I've said previously on the pod that it's black women have dashed me under the bus still, it is, black women that. Conversely, is black women who have other black women who've pulled me from the bus and given me a plaster. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Whereas at all times, man them have stayed on the side. The man them have stayed on the side, and even in more education, I don't get no man them DM me and like, oh, like love what you're doing, or is there any way I can help, or this, that, and the other. That's why maybe now when I'm thinking about it, it's going to you man's age, like Tariq and yourself, where I feel more comfortable. But kind of man in my age.
Oh, no.
The man ain't on that.
So, what's your experience of it in regards to the?
Well, I think I'm going to say like I grew up in this era where, especially people who've been teaching like 5, 6, 7 years and so on and so forth. I'm kind of feeling this whole aspect of like competition to get to this level as either assistant, deputy, or even head teacher. I'm seeing it quite a lot. Okay. And I think, now that I've kind of gotten to the head teacher stage, so the assistant head teacher like stage, I'm generally just like, I'm tapping out of the competition because I'm just like, I'm good where I currently am, and I'm now I got to this position here so that it can allow me more time to do greater things with Black Men Teach. Like I have less teaching hours, a bit more flexibility where I can pose a question of going into. But when you're, NQT or ECT or even the head of year and so on and so forth, which was my route, your time is in demand and so on and so forth. So I just feel, I see that there's quite a lot of people and assistant head, deputy, like it's like what bam 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 one after the other and so on and so forth. And I think it's like, I would love for whoever's listening to this, or if they feel like some people be in competition with them, like look, I champion you in it. Like no competition. I even sound tired because I'm just I was like
I'm done out here. Can I ask the follow-up question?
Yeah.
Like, I hear that having a full-time job in itself is a lot, and you're doing that on top of facilitating an organization that is doing amazing things in the sector. What are some of the challenges that you faced in the development of Black Men Teach whilst also grinding in senior leadership?
It's obviously you got time, which is, I say time is the biggest factor. I've been quite fortunate enough to, as Black Men Teach was developing, I've been under head teachers who can testify to my grind.
Yeah.
So if I was to like, okay, I've been invited to this school, or can I do this and so on. So they know that I'm not just, laying in bed. I'm actually going to do something, and so on and so forth.
And they respect that.
Yeah, and they respect that. And I think obviously I recently did a couple of moves to a new school, and I think one of the things I'm now aware of the fact is that they don't actually know me. So I need to kind of rebuild that rapport where I'm putting in the hours, but you understand that the work that I'm doing is bigger than this score.
Yeah.
It's bigger than this region, and and when I say region, I'm talking about South London.
Yeah.
It's bigger than London itself, so I don't want to be capped. I don't want to be capped at all. And so I say time is one of the biggest things. But I think another thing I'd probably say comes down to this whole idea when you raise that, you got myself and Albert, but I know myself and Albert, we're not trying to be the face of Black Men Teach. Ideally, I want every single black male to find their own identity in Black Men Teach. And I think so we want people to really step up, and we want people to actually know that, look, you can take a portion of this and run with it. If we look at America, and we tend to look at them for a range of different things, but in America they have a lot of organizations, but then they do certain things known as chapters.
Yes,
With their chapters, it will just be like, for example, I know, for example, there's one guy who I'm connected with, and he's the founder, of Real Men Teach.
Yeah.
And he recently came out in the UK and was talking, and there's a Real Men Teach in every single area of the state, and that's his vision.
Is that because geographically it's so vast, you kind of have to almost franchise out the organization?
I don't see why. Like, see in America, like you've got major black cities, but we have that in the UK as well.
True.
So Birmingham should have 2 chapters. London's supposed to have a north, south, east, and west. Supposed to have one, maybe a northwest chapter. That's Liverpool, Manchester. You with me? You may have a northeast chapter. A couple man up there.
Yeah. No, it's needed.
But no, I agree.
Really needed.
Yeah.
And I think but what's different with those chapters that, like, they're generally just like the headquarters. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're functioning the same. Yeah. They're making impact as much as possible. What tends to happen here, well, I'd say the least from my experience, is that you always have one that's always thriving, and then the other is almost following or taking up the scraps with it. Whereas, ideally, if we're really going to change this educational landscape where figures are increasing, right? It's not just going to be a Black Men Teach thing. It's going to be a Black Teachers Connect, a YBTN kind of aspect where we're all pushing our head above the parapet and just saying, like, okay, now it's action. We're all moving together at the same time. And I think quite a lot of people need to join the cause and take ownership and play your part in it.
That's where my question was going to be. Because Tariq, off camera, remember we were talking about how many... What was the question again? How many black male teachers are there in the UK? Yeah. And I was not disappointed, and I think I've said it to you as well. I'm disappointed at the uptake of, or you see an organisation called Black Men Teach. You're a black male teacher, and you ain't reached one event. You ain't liked one post. You ain't done niche. You kind of answered it in the last one in regards to competition, but what? Because I don't get it. Why do you think it is that what's the most amount of people you've had at one event, for example? Like, what's the biggest you've had at one event, one of your events? Most amount of people. We were talking about that.
Yeah. I say it's around 250.
Right, 250, and not all of those are black males.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
there's the support from black females. Was,
come and
high.
Yeah. What outside of competition? What do you think that's all about? Let's call it out. And I have to.
Nah, I could go real deep with this one.
Bro, talk the things.
Don't be scared, you know.
Listen, let's be honest.
So in my degree, I studied. There's a unit, a module where I studied Latin and South American plantation.
Wow.
So I was like, how deep do I go with this? And the mentality in terms of what we're seeing now was almost bred back in those days where people are competing against, like, look, if you're, a slave man and you're you're looking after your family and so on and so forth, and you have your compartment and so on and so forth, it's always a case of you're trying to get your own.
Yeah.
And it's always been like that. And that's generally how, divide and conquer actually works. Yeah. And I think slavery is long gone in some cases, I'd say, but the mentality still retains in the aspects of, where it's easy for us to be at competition or loggerhead with each other than actually camaraderie with each other. It's just a norm because I don't know if I can coexist with you in the same space. I don't know what you want to take from me. I don't know what you're stopping me from receiving if you're still here. And so what I would say, if there's anything else that's added to it, is there is this lack of psychological safety where us as black males can actually be completely honest with each other and just rest.
There's a joke. There's a joke, isn't there, around when you have a number of black people that work in an organization, and then you all meet up at like the staff room or
absolutely.
You look around. It's like an unspoken agreement. We can't be around each other too long.
Because we don't want other people to feel. So it's just like you got that aspect of it, but I think one of the things that you can't change is the color of your skin like that. You can't do it. So I genuinely feel like, us, being in these spaces is something that we shouldn't take for granted. And if we're trying to get more black males in SLT or more black people general in SLT, there's a strong sense of duty where it comes to the sense of you cannot just be black. You need to be competent at the job, and even being competent at the job, you cannot be selfish and almost closing the gate and not stretching your hands or putting down the ladder for other people to come up as well. And what we're finding,
even more so as a black male,
and what we're finding is that is what's happening.
Do you know what? That's deep. I love the way you put that about, because it kind of taps into kind of black male mental health and stuff like that. I love the point that you made earlier on just about us being comfortable in ourselves. But when I most recently decided, all right, I'm going to go into senior leadership, so on and so forth, because not to be arrogant, I could have gone into it previously. Did I tell you that my man messaged me?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I rate that.
A former head teacher messaged me and said, boy, I wish I would have been in a position to put you in SLT years ago. But that just wasn't what I was on. Anyway, there was another member of the leadership team that I went into and made it very clear, black male, my man coming in has made me uncomfortable and has made me a bit, you with me? It's threatened by it. And I couldn't, in my back of my head, I couldn't get it, because how I'm looking at it is like, if I come in, you're good. You're good. If I'm here and you're here, we're good. But it's now listening to you, I'm thinking, right, because that mentality doesn't even go, I don't even understand that mentality that you're talking about. So to hear you say it, I've experienced it where man's willing to... So they were happy when they were in senior leadership and I was doing what I was doing. But the minute I get the title, is a serious, and it is completely affected our dynamic.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less.
Maybe I'm ignorant.
Yo, just we can be calm with each other and still do a really good job in our own sphere, because not all black males are monoliths, right? This whole aspect of like, I could have gone into teaching and learning. I definitely could have run my own department, but my impact more so is in pastoral. I know black males, right? They are passionate about teaching and learning and pedagogy. Like, that's your own sphere. Yeah. And there's space on senior leadership for both of us to coexist. Like, because you're doing your area in teaching and learning, I'm doing my area in pastoral, and there's other quality, you know, raising outcomes and so on. So there's all these space that can be occupied. And we just don't need to be in competition with each other. And I think it comes down to what I see about Black Men Teach is that I want it to be that psychological safe space where brothers can just come in teaching and a space to just rest and know that when you come past, you know, this metaphorical door, yo, be you know, will take you.
Do you know what? Yeah. There are issues, there is adversity that we face as black men, as educators, and what I respect and appreciate the most is not just resting on or accepting that there are adversity and barriers, but actually contributing to breaking those down and putting positive solutions to actually combat those things. I respect.
Make sure you're talking into the mic.
I respect the Black Men Teach organisation for that.
And
powerful stuff.
And they say, you know what I mean, not to be condescending in any way, but they, like, a quote from the Bible says, "What was hidden from the wise and prudent will be revealed to the babe and suckling." You know? And after 20 years in education, almost 20 years, now we're starting to see the, like, almost next generation of you man coming through and doing certain things, and it's good to see. And sometimes it shows you it does take another wave of people to come through to do it. And I think one of the things I would say is the importance of supporting teachers in their, what's it, ECT now, isn't it? Yeah, black male teachers, because that ECT, those first 3 years in education,
it's vital. Like,
because I don't know if I ever told you, like, I walked out my PGC like halfway through.
Straight on.
Yeah. Trying to take man for an idiot.
What do you mean? What you expect? Why?
It's kind of traumatic. No.
And you know what's so mad is that trauma that you're even talking about is, it runs deep for many people.
Yeah. I'll never forget, I was in a staff room. I've said the story before, but this is what I'm just saying, just something to add, because I know. I was in a staff room, and me and my mentor, she said, "All right, you're going to do the first half of the lesson, do the second half of the lesson. Let's look at it tomorrow." So I've planned the first half, and then she's coming and said, "Where's the lesson plan?" And I said, "Oh, here's my, like, 20 minutes. She said, 20 minutes, you're supposed to do the whole lesson. And it's like rinsing man in front of everybody, yeah? I was 24. I was young, still a bit rough around the edges. And I'm thinking there's no other context in the world where you could talk to me like this.
And I'd have to just hold it.
What, which hold it? You could never talk to me like this, yeah? And I'm sitting in the office, and you know when other people are uncomfortable? And then what made it worse is this lovely woman, come up to me. I nearly like bawling, yeah? The tears. Like, after my girls walked out, she's come up to me because it was a violation.
Are you all right?
And like, I'm like, are you all right? Like, even talking about it now. I'm gonna say, yo. Call my mentor, PGC man, I say, yo, you're my son, brother. And this is how I chat to him, I'm like, ew. And this was like March, April time, so I'm near
almost there,
Yeah, I'm almost done. I said,
forget this.
I don't have to sit here and talk from idiots like that.
Yeah.
But again, that's all ego, age, this, that, and the other.
What did you say to her? You just have to be like, boy.
What did I say to her?
Yeah.
I've never seen her again.
Is it?
However, and I can look in the camera. If I ever see her again, and the light is green or red, I'm joking. But the emotional impact, and I've spoken to other black teachers, that is a major impediment in going through to becoming
Yeah.
senior leaders or so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So if I was going to say anything in regards to black male teach, and if there's any way that I can support,
I'm going to stop you there, yeah, because the second thing we have, obviously, we have a program that it's called Teach Thrive, and it's focusing on
Teach
Thrive.
Thrive, okay,
and it's focusing on ECTS.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
and
I want to
when we was
support that.
creating it, we was talking about the fact of, you know, so many people want to come to Black Men Teach or like have us talk and so on and so forth. But we only do that because we are able to stand on, you know, the shoulders of giants like yourself and other people who have gone before us, and we acknowledge them for what they've done. And so we potentially have, you know, a whole connection behind us. So we've created this whole program where we want to have tailored CPDs and stuff. And so we're currently in communication about how we can roll that out at a cohort of time between 15 to 30 black males, ECTs, and we just need schools to support that. But it's exactly what you said, because I remember my PGC year, my second placement almost at the end of it.
Yeah,
that tier you're talking about,
nah, bro.
It was there for me. It was there for me, like, and it was so deep because prior to that, I was passing, I was doing well.
Same.
And then one miscommunication led to the threat of being put on a support plan.
Yeah.
Which I didn't understand.
Yeah.
At all. So I think us in SLT and us even in middle leadership team, like, you don't need to be in certain roles or whatever to look out for somebody else. So just like what you did to Jordan, you know, we need more people to do that. More people to do that and to be the norm.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, it has been a pleasure, a pleasure finding out about Black Men Teach, your journey, so on and so forth. And I hope this has an impact in the education space. Can you make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe? That's not only to you, that's to everyone in the room as well. Do you understand? Because I need to. These conversations are important because what it is people are catching snippets and catching bits, saying, "Oh, it's really, really, really good." Can you please share it? Can you? I'm looking in the camera. Can you make sure it's shared, because that's the best thing you can do. I think we're gonna have to. I need to get these to the aunties, because once I get to aunties in the WhatsApp group, that's when it. But so whatever, if you're in any WhatsApp groups, any teaching groups, any so on and so forth, because what I don't want is, in months to come, people are like, oh yeah, right, where have you been? No, we've been here all the time. So we're gonna wrap it up. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to our podcast. Make sure you are following Black Men Teach, the stuff that they do. Remember, it's just not with teachers as well. It's with young black boys. I remember I saw you did. What's the trip where you man were in the lifesavers? Every man was scared to drown and that. Yeah, last week.
Yeah. So like we mentor young black boys as well from year 10 right up until year 13.
Yeah, you've got one of my boys in there, man.
And so one of the things that we do, we take them to these trips.
Yeah.
You know, we expose them like, listen,
they're doing bits.
I'm happy to leave my job, man, and just do that. Actually, no, I want my job still. We'll edit.
He loves his job. He's amazing, and the head teacher at his school is amazing as well.
She is.
Yeah. So, we're not just here yapping. They're doing bits. There are students from More Education who have gone on to do stuff at Black Men Teach. As we leave in year 11, them man are still doing bits with them. So that's where it's the link up. So again, like, comment, subscribe, and share. This is the SLT podcast. Catch us up on the next one. We'll probably have Johnoi on the next one as well. So yeah, brilliant. Done.